Robert sat at his desk by the window, scrolling absent-mindedly through his emails. The world outside barely interested him, except when his eyes drifted, as they always did, toward the bungalow next door. Louis was there, again, watering plants, shirtless, headphones on, his body carved like something sculpted out of stone. Robert sighed, dragging his eyes away just as his younger brother, Josh, burst into the room. Caught you again, Josh teased, leaning against the doorframe. One of these days your eyeballs will roll out of your head and land right on his abs. Shut up, Robert muttered, face heating. I wasn't staring. Josh smirked. You weren't just staring. You were daydreaming and drooling. Honestly, Robert, you need to get a life, or at least a boyfriend. I'm fine, Robert replied sharply. Not everyone is desperate to throw themselves at the first pretty face they see. Josh grinned, unfazed, except it's not just a pretty face. Admit it, he's your type. Robert swallowed, saying nothing, which of course was as good as admitting everything. The broken iron Monday morning. The house was quiet except for the sound of Robert ironing his shirt, or trying to. There was a spark, then a sharp pop. The iron went cold, dead. Damn it, Robert hissed. From the couch, Josh tried to hide his smile. Oh, what a tragedy. Whatever will you do? You can't go to work looking like a crumpled bedsheet. Robert shot him a glare. Don't even say it. Josh leaned back smugly. Why not ask our very kind, very single, very muscular neighbor for his iron? No, Robert snapped, but time was running out, and the thought of showing up at work looking unkempt was unbearable. Minutes later, he found himself standing in front of Louis' door, heart pounding. Louis stood there in nothing but a pair of black boxer briefs. His skin glistened with sweat, chest rising and falling from what must have been an intense workout. Hey, Louis said casually, as if this wasn't an ambush of beauty. Robert, right? What's up? Robert stammered. My iron, it's broken. Can I borrow yours? Louis smiled, teeth perfect, devastating. Of course. Come in. Robert stepped inside, trying not to stare at the curve of Louis' back, the faint trail disappearing under his waistband, the sheer confidence in the way he moved. Louis handed him the iron. Here you go. Keep it as long as you need. Thanks, Robert managed, though his mind screamed 1,000 other things. That image, Louis, nearly naked, warm and close, followed him long after he left. That night, Robert was unusually quiet at dinner. Josh noticed the way his brother's hand lingered on the fork, the distracted look in his eyes. So, Josh started grinning. How was your neighbor's iron? Robert choked. Shut up. Josh laughed. Oh my God, you saw him half naked, didn't you? And now you're hooked. Admit it, Rob. He's your type. Robert's silence was answer enough. Josh leaned forward. Don't worry. If you won't make a move, I will. For you, Robert narrowed his eyes. Don't you dare, but Josh was already plotting. The next weekend, Louis was in his garage tinkering with weights when Josh strolled over. Hey, Louis, Josh called. Listen, could you help us out? Robert's been trying to set up our home theater system, but it keeps messing up. You know how hopeless he is with tech. Louis wiped his hands on a towel. Sure, I don't mind taking a look. Back inside, Robert nearly dropped dead when Louis appeared at their door holding a toolbox. Josh said you needed help, Louis explained. Robert shot his brother a murderous look, but Josh only winked. In the living room, Louis crouched by the tangled cables, his shirt riding up to reveal the hard curve of his lower back. Robert tried not to watch, but he couldn't help himself. Who set this up? Louis asked with a laugh. Me, Robert admitted. No wonder, Louis teased lightly, then looked up with a grin. Don't worry, I'll fix it. As Louis walked, they talked about music, about books, about the boredom of living in a quiet compound. Robert found himself laughing, really laughing, for the first time in months. Louis' eyes lingered on him longer than necessary. Josh, watching from the kitchen, mouthed, You're welcome. The system finally came to life. The speakers thrummed with bass. Louis stood, brushing his hands together. There, he said, good as new. Robert smiled. Thanks, I owe you. Louis tilted his head, watching him with something unreadable. Then maybe you can return the favor. come over tomorrow night? I'll make dinner. Robert's pulse quickened. Dinner? Louis smiled slowly. Yes, just you and me. The next evening, Robert knocked at Louis's door. This time, Louis was dressed barely. A fitted black shirt hugged his torso, jeans low on his hips. The apartment smelled of rosemary and garlic. Dinner was perfect. Wine poured, conversation flowed. Louis was funny, sharp, magnetic. And Robert, he was undone. Every smile, every touch across the table pulled him deeper. By dessert, the air between them was thick with tension. Louis walked him to the door. Silence stretched. You know, Louis said softly, I don't usually do this. Do what? Robert asked. Louis leaned in, lips inches away. Want someone this badly? Robert's breath hitched. Then Louis kissed him. It was slow at first, tasting, teasing, then hungry. Robert melted against him, years of loneliness collapsing into heat and warmth. The door stayed closed that night. Clothes fell away, skin against skin, hot and desperate. Robert had never felt so alive, so wanted. Louis touched him like a man who knew exactly what he was doing, and Robert gave himself over completely. It was fire, it was freedom, it was the beginning of something neither of them could walk away from. Sunlight spilled across tango sheets. Robert lay against Louis's chest, listening to the steady beat of his heart. He should have felt awkward, but instead, he felt whole. Louis kissed his forehead. You know, I'm glad your iron broke. Robert laughed softly. Me too. From their own window, Josh peeked out, grinning like a victorious matchmaker.